From drones to hypersonic missiles, today's battlefield is evolving faster than ever, and Germany isn't left behind. Conventional weapons still rule the front lines, like the MG3, which is a formidable weapon that was used to strike fear in Allied soldiers. It still dominates modern battlefields with its raw power and reliability. But as bullets continue to blaze, a new weapon silently emerges: lasers. Germany is investing heavily in directed energy weapons that strike at the speed of light. Could lasers render traditional guns obsolete? And are we ready for this next phase of combat? Join us as we unveil this Germany laser machine gun, which is way more advanced than you'd think. Modern military laser systems are proving to be more and more vital as warfare is increasingly fought in more technologically advanced ways. It is confirmed that laser systems can perform a variety of tasks, but they are mainly used to neutralize threatening targets. The systems are highly accurate and effective in taking out targets, specifically those that are unmanned, like drones. The big countries are in a race to get the best systems, and Germany has one of the best laser systems it uses to protect its land from unwanted aggression. But before we get into the beams, let's take a look at the greatest machine gun to ever grace the battlefield. For over 60 years, one German machine gun has stood as a benchmark of battlefield dominance, a mechanical symphony of speed, precision, and sheer durability. It's a weapon forged in war, hardened by time, and still trusted by militaries across the globe. But perhaps the most astonishing fact isn't its endurance or impact. It's that the man who designed it had never made a gun in his life. The story and basic design of the MG3 machine gun dates to the shadow of World War II. As Adolf Hitler prepared his people and pushed them towards the second global conflict he was about to trigger, the Wehrmacht needed a modern replacement for its aging MG34, a solid weapon, but too expensive and slow to produce. What they wanted was something faster, simpler, and utterly terrifying. And that challenge would fall into the hands of a man with zero weapons design experience. The Germans were the undisputed designers of machine gun technology, and they had proved how lethal their weapons could be during World War I when they were used proficiently to hold the Allies back and lock them in lengthy and excruciating trench warfare. However, the MG34 had some crucial drawbacks that Germany needed to correct. The machine gun was peculiarly sensitive to extreme weather conditions, dirt and mud, and its manufacturing process was complex and expensive. 3 companies were requisitioned in February of 1937 to present designs for a new generation of machine guns. Grossfuss AG of Döbeln, Rheinmetall-Borsig AG of Schumerdach, and Stubgen AG of Erfurt. Grossfuss AG's design quickly stood out, employing a unique recoil-operated roller locking mechanism instead of the gas-actuated systems used by its 2 competitors. It would appear that people with no experience had quite the time during the World War, because astonishingly, and just like Hitler himself, the company had no earlier experience in weapons manufacture, mainly producing sheet metal lanterns before venturing to design a machine gun. Dr. Werner Gruner, one of its leading design engineers, had never worked with war weapons before he was assigned to the project. However, he was a resourceful man and an authority in mass production technologies. Eager to learn what he was getting into, Gruner joined a machine gunner's course to familiarize himself with the functionality and characteristics of said weapons. He also interviewed dozens of machine gun crews to learn about the needs and ideas that the end users had. Gruner implemented all this knowledge into a mass production system developed by the Mauser Rifle Company. The man who had never built a gun before was now ready to mass produce the most powerful machine gun in World War II. The novel weapon was made of pressed and stamped carbon steel metal with only the most essential parts milled from solid steel. The design also called for spot welding and riveting to connect components, decreasing the need for machining and high-grade steel alloys. As such, the manufacturing process used less strategic resources than its predecessor and was cheaper to produce. Gruner soon discovered that less is more when developing reliable and cheap machine guns, and reduced the time needed to complete the MG 42 to 75 man-hours, as opposed to the 150 man-hours required for the MG34. The new machine gun also required only 27.5 kilograms of raw materials instead of the 40 kilograms of the MG34, and the cost was reduced from 327 Reichsmarks to 250. The new design was purposely kept as similar as possible to the MG-34 to maintain familiarity and compatibility with the various mounts and other accessories developed for the MG-34 and its different combat roles. And initial trials immediately showed that the new weapon was at least as efficient as the old MG-34 machine gun. While they were similar, some very significant changes made the new design superior. The saddle drum magazine feed option was dropped, leaving the gun to fire-belted ammunition or from a 50-round drum-shaped Gurt-Trommel belt container mounted to the gun's receiver. Also, the weapon's open sights were simplified to improve aiming. All these adjustments were intended to increase, maintain, or accommodate the gun's high rate of fire. Despite the simple and cheap materials used for the MG-42, the machine gun turned out to be sturdier and more resistant to jamming than the MG-34, making it much more friendly to dust, dirt, and unfavorable battlefield weather. The MG-42 was massively deployed in 1942 and instantly became a hit, becoming much feared by the Allies. The Soviets even nicknamed it the Linoleum Ripper, and British and US troops called it Hitler's buzzsaw or Hitler's zipper. As it reached German soldiers' hands, the MG-42 was the most advanced machine gun in the world, with almost twice the rate of fire of the Vickers and Browning machine guns. As tensions between the West and the Soviet Union rose after the war, West Germany was again allowed to rearm after years of prohibition. The West German forces knew that the MG-42 was an excellent and reliable weapon and asked the US for permission to use it as their new machine gun. The US authorities responded that any machine gun they used would have to adhere to NATO ammunition standards. West Germany was left with two options: developing a machine gun from scratch or modifying the MG-42 and transforming it into a NATO-compliant weapon. The decision was easy, and the new modified machine gun would be known as the MG-1. Rheinmetall, the German company in charge of making the modifications, made several versions of the new machine gun rechambered to take 7.6 2x 51mm NATO ammunition. The MG-Z1, MG-01A1, MG-1A2, MG-1A3, and MG-2 all had the same core design as the MG-42. Still, they included minor adjustments to make them more proficient in the post-World War II NATO scenario. Still, the most polished version was achieved in 1968, and it would be known as the MG-3. Compared to the previous post-World War II MG machine guns, the MG-3 features an improved ammunition feeding mechanism with a belt-retaining PAL to hold the belt up to the gun when the top cover plate is lifted. It was also equipped with an anti-aircraft sight and a new ammunition box that improved the performance of an already remarkable gun. The MG-3 had evolved significantly from its predecessor, and its many future variants further refined its performance for specific roles. Still, at its core, the MG-3 retains the backbone of the MG-42, and most of its parts are freely interchangeable. During the late 1960s and early 1970s, the MG-3 demonstrated to be an exceptional machine gun, and it was evaluated separately by numerous NATO nations, producing great reviews. Today, the weapon is used by 48 countries worldwide, including Germany, Canada, Australia, Italy, Spain, and Sweden. The MG-3's 60-year design continues to provide a tremendous fire rate that can perform brilliantly even in the 21st century. It is so impressive that machine gun crews must undergo special training to avoid sustained fire at all costs. When fired in its bipod-mounted light machine gun role, the MG-3 operators are trained to fire brief bursts of 3 to 5 rounds and attempt to optimize their aim between shots. Meanwhile, MG-3 operators strive to fire bursts of 20 to 30 rounds when in its tripod-mounted medium machine gun role. After approximately 150 rounds of rapid fire, the MG-3 crew will replace the hot barrel with a new cool one. If this procedure is not followed, the barrel becomes unusable. In addition, the crew members in charge of barrel replacement are equipped with protective asbestos gloves to prevent burn injuries to their hands. Military analysts still rate the MG-3 among the top 3 machine guns in the world, along with the Soviet PKM and the Belgian M240 machine gun. Impressively, the MG-3's original design is 20 years older than the PKM and almost 40 years older than the M240, and there are no signs of abandoning it anytime soon. But what if we told you Germany didn't stop there? Today, they're building weapons that don't just feel like lasers. They are lasers. One of the major players in this arena is, of course, the German military powerhouse Rheinmetall, responsible for a lineup of air defense systems, including Skynex, Sky Ranger, Skyguard, Sky Shield, and the Millennium Gun. These systems work harmoniously to offer armed forces a robust defense against adversaries. Let's start by focusing on the laser system. Other countries have already bought into the idea of a laser defense system. The USA has the ANSC-3 laser weapon system. Israel has the Drone Dome and Iron Beam. Germany is not left behind. Their equivalent system that they've designed is known as HEL, or High Energy Laser, designed by the country's engineering powerhouse, Rheinmetall. The laser has been a useful addition to the Rheinmetall Sky Ranger 38x8 vehicle to help with air defense. The high-energy laser weapon has its own sensors. This laser shoots a 20-kilowatt beam that can automatically lock onto targets and render them ineffective. There are exciting plans to increase the power of the laser as well. The immediate target for the German company is to increase this power to 50 kilowatts and eventually to 100 kilowatts in the near future. This will provide the laser with a very long reach, but also a practically unlimited supply of laser ammunition at a cost of only around $1 a shot, assuming power is available. Rheinmetall has actually managed to successfully test its new 50-kilowatt high-energy weapon. The test went through the whole operational sequence from target detection and tracking to target engagement. This was held at Rheinmetall's Ochsenboden Proving Ground in Switzerland. This was done in challenging, snowy conditions and blinding sunlight. The test proved a 5-fold increase in laser power available for the laser's use cases, which included air defense, counter-rocket, artillery, mortar, CRAM, and asymmetric warfare operations. Another plus from testing is that it proved the laser to be deadly accurate. It showed detection, pursuit, and successful engagement of an extremely small ballistic target measuring just 82 millimeters in diameter and traveling at approximately 50 meters per second. This was to simulate a mortar round. The fire control unit detected the target with no delay. This was then followed by mechanical tracking with a 30-kilowatt laser weapon station. The laser's weapon module took over tracking the target visually, which was then engaged and taken out in flight. The Sky Ranger itself has impressive capabilities. Its comprehensive sensor array enables automatic air monitoring, allowing the system to select the appropriate deterrent to address emerging threats promptly. Boasting a remarkable fire rate of 1,200 rounds per minute, the onboard 30mm x 173 KCE revolver gun stands as the world's top-performing weapon in its category. This ammunition is equipped with programmable time delay capabilities, enhancing accuracy against exceptionally small targets. Guided missiles grant the Sky Ranger heightened flexibility and extended range. Aside from the laser system, there are other aerial defense systems that demand attention. One of such is the Millennium Gun, which stands apart from the other air defense weapons. This distinction arises from the fact that this specific weapon is ship-mounted rather than land-based. However, similar to its counterparts, the Millennium Gun is produced by Oerlikon, a Swiss company that now falls under the ownership of Rheinmetall. At the heart of this gun is a remarkable 35mm automatic cannon, recognized for its extraordinary firing rate of 1,000 rounds per minute. This rapid-fire capability is coupled with exceptional precision. Another thing that sets the Millennium Gun apart is its utilization of Rheinmetall's pioneering AHEAD ammunition, a combination that makes it a formidable asset for any naval fleet. Moreover, the Millennium Gun can be seamlessly integrated with advanced sensors or incorporated into a broader command and control system, enhancing its efficacy as a cutting-edge weapon platform. Alternatively, it can operate independently with the addition of radar and optronic sensors as a self-contained close-in weapon system. This battle-proven system has garnered popularity among numerous nations. Following extensive rounds of technical, tactical, and sea trials, the Royal Danish Navy opted for this system across all of Denmark's Absalon-class combat and flexible support vessels. In addition, several South American and Eastern European navies have adopted the Millennium gun to replace their existing 40mm and 75mm naval armaments. Let's transition back to land operations with the Skyguard system. Originally introduced in the 1960s as a replacement for the Swiss Air Force's outdated systems, this fire control system is now under the ownership of Rheinmetall. The initial development of Skyguard was a collaborative effort between Oerlikon and the United States Raytheon Company. The Swiss company focused on creating the Skyguard fire control system, which effectively manages twin 35mm cannons. Presently, Skyguard has advanced to its third iteration, and the interconnected Skyguard and Skyguard 3 fire units are built upon the original concept of layered defense. This comprehensive system comprises a fire controller, search radar unit, along with 2 twin-barrel 35mm cannons. Its global appeal is evident as it is currently employed by more than 40 countries worldwide. Now let's delve into Sky Shield, which essentially represents an enhancement of the Skyguard system. Developed by Oerlikon Contraves, Sky Shield is designed to provide defense against tactical aircraft, attack helicopters, cruise missiles, and unmanned aerial vehicles flying at low and extremely low altitudes. The system's versatility extends to engaging ground-based armored targets. It possesses the capacity to intercept targets traveling at both subsonic and supersonic speeds, irrespective of the time of day. Its effective range reaches up to 8 kilometers. While maintaining the familiar 35mm anti-aircraft guns, Sky Shield distinguishes itself from its precursor through the separation of its radar and control unit. According to its designers, this separation substantially enhances survivability. Notably, the control station can be positioned up to a distance of 500 meters from other system components. Furthermore, in a critical aspect, if the fire control system encounters a malfunction, the capability to independently search for targets is retained through the optoelectronic modules present on each launcher. Finally, there's Skynex, the unifying force behind this innovative array. Despite its name evoking thoughts of the Terminator series, Skynex is in reality a modular system designed to craft a tailored defense against prevailing threats. Serving as Rheinmetall's latest response to short-range air defense needs, Skynex employs the Skymaster Battle Management System as its central intelligence hub. Flexible modularity characterizes Skynex, as it allows the integration of diverse sensors to suit specific mission requirements. Medium-range radars like the XTAR 3D Tactical Acquisition Radar offer target information, funneling it to the control node for processing within the Skymaster network. The Oerlikon Revolver Gun Mark III and Oerlikon Twin Gun synergize with surface-to-air missiles, while adaptable provisions for active and passive electronic warfare, as well as future-proofing for high-powered lasers, cement its capabilities. Similar to other Sky systems, the unmanned revolver gun combines outstanding precision with formidable firepower. Boasting a firing rate of up to 1,000 rounds per minute, this 35mm cannon demonstrates a maximum aerial target range of 3,500 meters and 5,000 meters for terrestrial counterparts. Equipped with its dedicated sensor unit encompassing a tracking radar, TV and infrared camera, and laser rangefinders, the gun can seamlessly assume control from Skymaster, autonomously tracking and engaging targets. The fundamental Skynex version is tailored to safeguard against an array of threats: aircraft, cruise missiles, tactical drones of varying sizes, air-to-ground missiles, as well as mortars and artillery rockets, all within distances of up to 4 kilometers. The deployment of Skynex to assist Ukraine in its conflict aligns with its capabilities. Skynex has been positioned as the optimal solution for safeguarding critical assets like airfields, military bases, harbors, bridges, and nuclear power plants from aerial strikes around the clock. These systems share striking similarities and can be effectively utilized in tandem to bolster defense against aerial threats. Being under the same company's ownership allows seamless integration of most of these systems. Their common thread lies in their impressive firing rates coupled with deadly accuracy. This reassures the owning military entities that the skies will be significantly safer. Additionally, the foresight in embedding future proofing within the latest systems is paramount as warfare continuously adapts to novel threats and countermeasures. All of these systems represent the cutting edge of military technology, and without a doubt, Weapons like these will become more common on the battlefield in the not-too-distant future. The fact that the laser system is highly accurate, effective against modern weaponry, and relatively cheap to run means that it is an excellent alternative to traditional weapons. While Germany hasn't given up on its traditional machine gun, but has instead refined it further, its new fondness for laser technology will catapult it to greater heights in military weaponry. Expect to see many more of these systems in the arsenals of militaries across the world. Germany's mighty Leopard 2 crushes everything in its path. Its 120mm cannon tears through armor, while advanced systems detect enemies miles away. With unmatched speed, agility, and nearly impenetrable armor, it outclasses anything on the battlefield. Will this tank render Russia's weapons useless? Will this steel giant shift the balance of global power and redefine modern warfare? Join us as we uncover everything about Germany's $3 billion laser system tank. After the Cold War, tensions between East and West were rising. In 1963, Germany and America launched a joint tank project, the MBT-70, aiming to create a super tank that could outmatch anything from the Soviet Union. However, by 1967, the project was plagued with skyrocketing costs and technical failures. Germany could not wait, so military leaders turned to Porsche to explore upgrades for their Leopard 1 tank. Porsche engineers named their study the Vergold Eater Leopard, or Gilded Leopard. They envisioned game-changing features like an automatic loader, a secondary cannon, and even a camera on an extendable pole to scout enemies from cover. Around the same time, Germany launched experimental Entwicklung, meaning experimental development, setting aside 25 million German marks, later increased to 32 million. Krauss Maffei led the project, working alongside Porsche on the hull and Wegmann on the turret. By 1969, 2 test vehicles, nicknamed Keiler, meaning wild boar, were built. These were not just improved Leopard 1 tanks, but platforms for testing new technology. The goal was to ensure accurate shots at 2,000 meters, over a mile, even while moving over rough terrain. Meanwhile, the MBT-70 project was collapsing. One major flaw was placing the driver inside the turret, making operations disorienting. Germany pulled out in 1969 and attempted a last-ditch modification, but the effort never advanced beyond a wooden model. In 1971, Germany decided to abandon failed projects and focus on the promising Keiler design. The tank was officially named Leopard 2, with Paul Werner Krapke leading its development. 2 versions were planned, the gun-armed Leopard 2K and the missile-launching Leopard 2 FK. That year, Germany ordered 17 prototypes, though only 16 were built, for testing various configurations. 10 had 105mm guns, while 7 featured larger 120mm smoothbore guns. 2 hulls used experimental suspensions inspired by the MBT-70 with fewer road wheels. These prototypes introduced advanced features like precise rangefinders, stabilized guns for accurate firing on the move, and spaced armor for extra protection. By 1973, the tank's design kept evolving. Engineers developed a sharply angled turret, nicknamed the Shrew turret for its distinctive shape. Then the Yom Kippur War in the Middle East revealed a crucial lesson. Tanks needed much stronger armor to survive modern battlefields. In response, Leopard 2 was redesigned with heavier but more effective protection. Despite early struggles, constant innovation turned Leopard 2 into one of the most successful tanks in history. After years of testing, tweaking, and going back to the drawing board, the Leopard 2 was finally taking shape. But could German engineers turn their ambitious designs into a real tank that armies around the world would want to buy? The answer came in January 1977, when Germany made its first official order for the new tank. Instead of rushing into mass production, they wisely started with just 3 test tanks, 2 complete with turrets and 1 hull, to make sure everything worked perfectly. These pre-series vehicles arrived in 1978 with extra armor on the front, giving engineers one last chance to find and fix any problems. One of these test tanks went straight to the German Army School in Munster, where soldiers, not just engineers, could try it out in realistic conditions. Their feedback was crucial in making sure the final design would work well in the hands of regular tank crews. Satisfied with the results, Germany placed a massive order in September 1977 for 1,800 Leopard 2 tanks to be built in 5 big batches. This was no small project. It would take years to complete. The main company, Krauss-Maffei, could not handle such a huge order alone, so Maschinenbau Kiel was brought in to build nearly half the tanks. The first batch would include 380 tanks, with just 6 tanks scheduled for delivery in 1979, 114 for 1980, 180 for 1981, and then 300 tanks each year after that. On October 25, 1979, a historic moment arrived when the very first production Leopard 2 rolled off the assembly line. By 1982, workers at both factories had completed all 380 tanks from the first batch. Krauss-Maffei built 209 of them, with chassis numbers 10,001 to 10,210, while Maschinenbau Kiel delivered 171, with chassis numbers 20,001 to 20,172. Some of these early tanks did not have all the planned equipment. The special night vision thermal sights were not ready yet, so they got older image intensifiers instead. When the thermal sights finally became available, crews went back and installed them in the earlier tanks. Germany's appetite for these powerful new tanks kept growing. After the original 5 batches, they ordered 3 more, bringing Germany's total to an impressive 2,125 Leopard 2 tanks. The 6th batch of 150 tanks was ordered in June 1987 and built between January 1988 and May 1989. The 7th batch added 100 more tanks between May 1988 and April 1990. The final German order for 75 tanks was completed between January 1991 and March 1992. During the height of Cold War tensions, German factories were churning out 16 Leopard 2 tanks every month, about 1 every other day. Even though production slowed after the Cold War ended, the companies kept their equipment and skilled workers ready, just in case they needed to ramp up production again quickly. By the early 1990s, the Leopard 2 had transformed from an experimental project into one of the most successful tank designs in history. With thousands of Leopard 2 tanks now spread across the globe, many wondered what exactly made this German machine so special. What secret technologies and engineering tricks gave the Leopard 2 its fearsome reputation on the battlefield? At the heart of every great tank lies its armor, the protective shell that keeps the crew alive when enemy shells come flying. The Leopard 2's armor is not just thick steel like tanks of the past. Instead, it uses a special sandwich of different materials called spaced multi-layer armor. This clever design combines steel plates of different hardness levels with elastic materials and non-metal components. German engineers studied exactly how enemy anti-tank weapons work, especially the dangerous shaped charges that can burn through normal armor. They discovered that using layers of different materials could disrupt and weaken these deadly jets of super hot metal before they could reach the crew inside. The protection on the front of the Leopard 2 Alpha 4 is about 800 millimeters thick, which is nearly 3 feet of armor. Later versions like the 2 Alpha 5 got even better protection with wedge-shaped armor pieces that increased the thickness to 1,500 millimeters. These angled armor blocks make enemy shells glance off instead of hitting straight on. Experts estimate the 2 Alpha 4's frontal armor provides protection equal to 590 to 690 millimeters of solid steel against tank shells and 600 millimeters against shaped charges. The newer 2 Alpha 6 is even tougher, with protection equal to 920 to 940 millimeters of steel on the turret. But armor is not perfect. If a shell does break through, the Leopard 2 has another trick: compartments. The ammunition is stored in special areas separated from the crew. If shells in the turret explode, blow-off panels in the roof direct the blast upward, away from the crew. However, there is one weakness. The 27 shells stored in the hull do not have this protection, which could cause a catastrophic explosion if hit. Companies like IBD, Dyson-Roth, and ROEG have created add-on armor packages with names like Mexus, AMAP, and SidePro ATR to make the tank even harder to destroy. Some Leopard 2 tanks also have slat armor, metal cages that defeat rocket-propelled grenades before they can hit the main armor. The Leopard 2's main punch comes from its massive 120mm smoothbore gun made by Rheinmetall. Unlike older guns with rifling, this smooth-walled gun can fire special dart-like shells with incredible accuracy. The newer Lima 55 version of this gun is longer than the original Lima 44, giving shells more speed and power. These shells are amazing feats of engineering. The Delta Mike 53 round can punch through 750 millimeters of armor steel at 2,000 meters. That is like shooting through 2.5 feet of solid steel from over a mile away. The gun can even fire the Israeli Lima Alpha Hotel Alpha Tango missile to hit targets up to 6,000 meters away. The tank carries 42 shells, a total of 27 in the hull, and 15 in a special compartment in the back of the turret. It also has 2 machine guns, one next to the main gun and another on top for shooting at aircraft or infantry. What makes the Leopard 2 truly special is its ability to hit targets while moving over rough ground. This magic happens thanks to the Echo Mike Echo Sierra 15 fire control system. It combines a laser rangefinder that measures the exact distance to targets and a thermal camera that sees in the dark by detecting heat. A powerful computer takes information about the target's distance, the tank's speed, the weather, and even the Earth's rotation to calculate the perfect firing solution in seconds. The beating heart of this 60-ton beast is the Mike Tango uniform Mike Bravo 873 Kilo Alpha 501 engine, a massive 12-cylinder diesel that produces 1,500 horsepower. That is about the same power as 15 family cars combined. This powerful engine pushes the tank to speeds of 68 kilometers per hour on roads and gives it a range of 500 kilometers before needing to refuel. All these technologies work together to create a nearly perfect balance of protection, firepower, and mobility. But the real question remained: how would these sophisticated machines perform when the shooting started for real? With all its impressive technology and clever design features, the Leopard 2 looked unstoppable on paper. But as any soldier will tell you, real combat is different from tests and training. In 1984, German engineers began making important changes to their prize tank. The Leopard 2 Alpha 4 version added a digital ballistic computer that made firing even more accurate. They also improved the fire extinguishing system to better protect crews if something went wrong. By 1989, German military planners realized that tanks, like all technology, needed regular updates to stay ahead of the competition. They launched an ambitious program with a very German name, Kampfwertsteigerung, which simply means combat value improvement. This program had 3 main goals: better armor, a more powerful gun, and improved electronics. The first major upgrade came with the Leopard 2 Alpha 5 in 1995. The most visible change was the new arrow-shaped armor on the turret. These angular blocks weren't just for show, they were carefully designed to deflect incoming shells. Between 1995 and 1998, Germany upgraded 225 of their tanks to this new standard. They liked the results so much that they converted another 125 tanks between 1999 and 2002. The next big jump came with the Leopard 2 Alpha 6, which featured a longer gun barrel, the Lima 55 instead of the older Lima 44. This longer barrel gave shells more speed and hitting power, making the tank even deadlier at long ranges. Between 2001 and 2005, Germany converted 225 tanks to this new standard. The third planned stage would have been truly revolutionary, replacing the entire turret with a new design featuring a massive 140mm gun and an autoloader to replace the human loader. Engineers built and tested a prototype with this huge gun, but the project was canceled in 1995. With the Cold War over, the threat of massive tank battles in Europe had faded, and the cost seemed hard to justify. While these upgrades were happening, the peaceful 1990s gave way to a more dangerous world. For the first time, Leopard 2 tanks would face real combat conditions. The baptism of fire came in Kosovo, where German peacekeeping forces deployed their Leopard 2s to keep warring factions apart. Though they didn't face direct combat, these missions taught valuable lessons about operating heavy tanks in difficult terrain in unstable regions. The real test came in the mountains of Afghanistan after the 9/11 attacks. Dutch, Danish, and Canadian forces brought their Leopard 2s to this harsh environment as part of the International Security Assistance Force. Many experts had claimed that Afghanistan, with its rugged mountains and narrow valleys, was no place for heavy tanks. The Leopard 2 proved them wrong. Canadian tankers found that their Leopard 2s could go places other vehicles couldn't, providing crucial fire support for infantry and firefights with Taliban fighters. The tank's excellent optics could spot hidden enemies, and their powerful guns could destroy fortified positions with a single shot. But Afghanistan also revealed limitations. The original tanks weren't well protected against the buried bombs, called improvised explosive devices, that became the Taliban's weapon of choice. This led to new variants like the Leopard 2 Alpha 4 Mike and 2 Alpha 6 Mike, with added armor on the bottom of the hull to better survive mine blasts. Engineers also developed special armor kits for urban fighting, where threats could come from any direction. The Leopard 2 Alpha 4 Mike can and Leopard 2 PSO added armor modules along the sides of the turret and hull, plus metal cage armor at the back to defeat rocket-propelled grenades that could penetrate up to 600 millimeters of steel. These combat experiences transformed the Leopard 2 from a tank designed to fight Soviet armies on European plains into a versatile fighting vehicle that could handle peacekeeping, counterinsurgency, and urban combat. With each mission, crews and engineers learned new lessons that fed into further improvements. But as effective as these midlife upgrades were, the world of military technology never stands still. By 2014, newer threats were emerging that would demand even more advanced solutions. While the Leopard 2 proved itself through decades of upgrades and limited combat experience, a new question emerged on the horizon. How would this battle-tested tank adapt to the rapidly changing warfare of the 21st century? In 2014, a new chapter began for Germany's famous tank. The Leopard 2A7 rolled out to soldiers, showing off its latest improvements. Only 20 tanks came in this first batch, but they marked the start of something new. The 2A7 was not just another upgrade. Engineers gave it better armor on the bottom to protect against hidden bombs and mines that fighters often use in modern conflicts. They also added special holders where extra armor plates could be attached when needed, especially for fighting in cities. The 2A7 can handle today's threats better than any version before it, said one German defense official when the tanks were delivered. Even before these new tanks reached soldiers, German planners were already thinking about what to change next. They wanted to keep the tank's famous mobility while making it even more protected. They also started working on better cameras and vision systems to help tank crews see the battlefield more clearly. But a challenge appeared in 2015. Reports claimed that the special tungsten bullets used by Leopard 2 tanks could not break through the armor of Russia's newest T-90 tanks or their upgraded T-80s. German weapons makers quickly began developing new, more powerful bullets specifically for the 2A7 version. At the same time, the company Rheinmetall started work on something even bigger, a new 130mm gun to replace the standard 120mm gun on Leopard tanks. This bigger gun would be 50% more powerful and could punch through tougher armor. By 2016, they were ready to start telling potential buyers about this new weapon. Looking further ahead, German military planners know the Leopard 2 will not last forever. The tanks first entered service in 1979, and they expect them to serve until around 2030. In May 2015, Germany and France agreed to work together on a completely new tank that would eventually replace both the German Leopard 2 and the French Leclerc. This new project, called the Main Ground Combat System, will not be ready right away. Until then, the Leopard 2 will keep getting updates. These include a new digital brain for the turret, better awareness systems to help crews understand what is happening around them, and active protection systems that can shoot down incoming rockets before they hit the tank. Protection against modern threats remains a top concern. In February 2021, Germany decided to buy the Trophy system from Israel, a special defense system that can detect and destroy anti-tank missiles in midair. The plan is to fit this system on 17 German Leopard 2A7A1 tanks by 2023, with lessons learned helping to improve the future Leopard 2A8 version. The Leopard 2 has changed a lot since its birth in the Cold War. Today's versions face very different threats, from hidden bombs in city streets to advanced missiles and drones. But with each upgrade, the tank has adapted. As warfare continues to change, so will this German tank. And when it finally retires around 2030, its successor will build on 5 decades of lessons learned in peace and war. Mexican cartels were once untouchable as they ran their operations from the comfort of their underground labs, protected by gunmen. But when U.S. forces unleashed tanks and drones on them in an attack that destroyed a fentanyl lab with surgical accuracy, that illusion of invincibility faded into nothingness. Now, the cartel gangs have spiraled into what is probably the most chaotic war they have faced. How did a single strike cause one of the deadliest wars in modern history? And can Mexico contain it? Join us as we unveil how U.S. fighter tanks struck at once, destroying a cartel drug lab. The Sinaloa cartel has trapped Mexico's northern state in a violent siege, leaving a trail of bodies and disappearances as authorities struggle to restore peace. Over the decades, Mexico's most feared drug lords built empires powerful enough and designed to resist law enforcement and survive any attack. When one mentioned cartel leaders, Rafael Caro Quintero, the Trevino Morales brothers, and Vicente Curio Fuentes immediately come to mind. More than mere traffickers, these 3 figures were architects of transnational criminal states. They built their respective cartels from the traditional street-level drug operations, transforming them into military-style organizations with facilities buried deep underground, encrypted networks, and global supply chains. They've all been nabbed by authorities, but if you think that was enough to stop them, then you can't be more wrong. Let's start with the chief. The foundation of modern Mexican drug trafficking was laid by Rafael Caro Quintero, also known as the Narco of Narcos. In the 1980s, he created the routes that moved cocaine from Colombia through Mexico and into the United States. In a way, it can be said that he created a blueprint that others would follow for decades. He was arrested for the murder of DEA agent Enrique Camarena, for which he spent years in prison. He was released in 2013 due to an illegal technicality. Normally, you'd expect that someone like that would disappear, but that wasn't the case for Quintero. Instead of disappearing, he rebuilt his criminal network from underground hideouts in Sinaloa. When authorities were hot on his tail again, he used satellite internet, encrypted phones, and secret tunnels to avoid capture. If you've ever heard that Mexico's justice system struggled to contain figures whose power extended beyond prison walls, Quintero was a perfect example. Then there's the Trevino Morales brothers, Miguel and Omar, who turned Los Zetas into one of the most violent cartels in history. They had a bit of an edge because of their backgrounds in Mexico's elite military units. They came into the criminal world with battle tactics. They had foot soldiers who drove armored trucks, used night vision gear, and carried out coordinated attacks like the military. Many cities in northeastern Mexico lived in perpetual fear of Los Zetas because they taxed businesses as if they were the government. They ran kidnapping rings and eliminated rivals with military efficiency. To put into perspective, their cartel operated more like a rogue army than a gang, and their military discipline made them one of the most challenging threats for authorities to confront. While the brothers held Los Zetas, Vicente Curio Fuentes ruled the Juarez cartel with a ruthless hand. After taking over from his brother, known as the Lord of the Skies, he transformed Ciudad Juarez into one of the most violent cities on Earth. From 2008 to 2012, more than 10,000 people were killed in turf wars as his cartel fought for control of the bridges linking Juarez to El Paso, Texas. The cartel's strength came not just from violence, but from architecture. They built vast underground facilities that remained invisible to local police and aerial surveillance for years. Inside the bunker, there are living quarters, safe room for keeping weapons, and a command center with multiple computer systems and satellite phones that could rival a modern military mini-command center. To add to that, they even had a medical bay for treating wounded cartel members. That way, they wouldn't have to expose themselves to the public. For years, these fortresses made it nearly impossible for authorities to disrupt production, especially in areas where local officials were either bought off or too afraid to intervene. According to Inside Crime, the Sinaloa and Jalisco New Generation cartels now control over 60% of global fentanyl production. This dominance is supported by a network of labs shielded from detection and defended by private security forces. Formerly led by Joaquin El Chapo Guzman, Sinaloa is one of Mexico's oldest and most powerful drug trafficking groups, with considerable influence in the Mexican government and public institutions. In addition to fentanyl trafficking, the group engages in extortion, migrant smuggling, oil and mineral theft, prostitution, and the weapons trade. With strongholds in nearly half of Mexico's states, particularly those along the Pacific coast in the northwest and near the country's southern and northern borders, and operations in at least 47 countries, it has a larger international footprint than any of its Mexican rivals. Its labs also produce way more fentanyl than any other cartel in Mexico. For years, they remained almost untouchable. But after President-elect Donald Trump threatened tariffs if the country didn't stop drugs from crossing the border, Mexico's security forces doubled down on their efforts to tackle cartels. They announced their largest seizure of fentanyl ever, which was over 20 million doses of the drug. U.S. authorities also seized nearly 10,000 kilograms of fentanyl, much of it traced back to Mexican superlabs. These facilities are often equipped with chemical shielding, surveillance systems, and quick response teams, allowing them to evade detection until now. But recent advances in technology are shifting the balance. Criminal groups have had to adjust to the new conditions on the ground. Fearing law enforcement raids or attacks by their rivals, they're moving their labs around more often than usual and producing drugs in new locations. But they don't have as much cover as before. With the development of spy satellites that can detect heat patterns from hidden structures, even dense jungle canopies are not very safe. Drones with infrared sensors and AI-driven analysis can map out entire compounds in real time. Communication intercepts provide insight into how drugs are moved and stored. These tools, once reserved for tracking terrorist cells in the Middle East, have become essential in locating cartel infrastructure. What was once invisible is now visible, and this revelation has changed the game. Still, technology alone cannot dismantle an empire built on fear. These cartels depend on local influence, and that influence runs deep. Cartel leaders in many regions are seen not just as criminals, but also as providers. They fund schools, repair roads, and offer jobs. This social control makes them harder to dislodge than a conventional enemy. Even when key figures are arrested, new leaders quickly step in, often more violent than their predecessors. Arrests and seizures disrupt operations temporarily, but without systemic change, the cartels adapt and return stronger. The United States understood that hitting the cartels would require more than arrests and extraditions. It needed to find their weak spots and exploit them with precision. The fall of their hidden strongholds began when those weaknesses were exposed through surveillance and data. As satellites traced heat signatures and drones followed convoys, the once untouchable cartels became visible targets. This realization led American policymakers to consider a more aggressive strategy rooted in military doctrine rather than civilian law enforcement. The collapse of cartel secrecy did not happen overnight. It was the result of years of intelligence gathering and technological development. But once the veil was lifted, the strategic landscape shifted. These fortified empires could now be mapped, monitored, and when necessary, eliminated. This was the beginning of the end for criminal organizations that had thrived on invisibility. Now that the world had eyes inside cartel territory, the question was no longer whether they could be reached, but how far the United States was willing to go. That answer came on January 20th, 2025, when President Trump signed an executive order that redefined the legal status of these organizations and unlocked new tools to combat them. In July 2025, the United States executed one of the most precise and secretive military operations in its war on drugs. And they didn't use jets. They used ground-based weapons believed to be old-fashioned. The military used a seamless integration of the Phoenix drone and a tank so precise it made other modern artillery into a joke. The drone took the forefront, scanning the dense jungle within which the cartel lab was located. It spotted armed guards parading around the facility, showing the seriousness of the operation. The Phoenix drone transmitted all information to the crew positioned nearby, ready to strike. 17 kilometers behind the front, the M109 Paladin howitzer stood ready, its 155mm cannon loaded. The crew focused on the targeting data streaming in from the Phoenix drone. In truth, the precision with which the crew operated is something to admire. The fire control system absorbed the drone's real-time intelligence, calculating firing solutions for 7 cartel vehicles stationed 20 kilometers away. The ballistic computer of the tank ingested over 130 battlefield parameters in real time and rapidly produced a firing solution that ordinarily took older systems minutes to assemble. With this speed, the Paladin was primed to deliver its opening blow within just 30 seconds. At 0614 hours, all the preparations came to the fore as the Paladin opened fire. If any critics of military tanks were present, they would have found themselves in shock as the Paladin showcased the full potential of multiple round simultaneous impact, or MRSI, something that you probably don't expect from a tank. Everyone knows that traditional artillery lands shells sequentially and allows for enemy reaction, but MRSI is different. It coordinates the firing of several rounds at different trajectories and velocities so that within a 2-second window, all shells will have arrived. This unexpected approach caught the cartel off guard and denied them any sort of warning or time to seek cover. Again, the precision is something to be praised. In seconds, 6 shells had left the barrel in rapid succession, each programmed for a unique flight path. As the attack struck the targets, the impact on the cartel formation was clear, immediate, and severe. 2 vehicles that were closest were obliterated, literally. Their armored glasses were breached like a hot knife through butter, and the engines welcomed flames. 1 vehicle, identified by the Phoenix drone as the highest threat because of its contents, blew into pieces. The sudden destruction of these key vehicles was a dent in whatever courage the cartel had. The patrol guards scrambled for cover, which had already been blown open anyway. Now that the vehicles that contained contents capable of igniting a war between 2 countries had been destroyed, another M109 times directly for the lab, having received coordinates from the Phoenix drone, the crew let hell loose. The heavy shells landed one after the other on the heavily protected lab. It may not be wrong to say in this operation, the strike power of the Paladin was similar to the bunker-busting power of the GBU-72B. The shells ignored all the defenses that were supposed to protect the lab, tearing through steel like ripping a piece of paper with bare hands. In mere seconds, the lab that previously housed cartel drugs and weapons, and from which fentanyl and other drugs were tested, was up in flames. In every aspect of the strike, you could see that the Paladin held a clear edge. This wasn't the usual tank that everybody knew. While traditional artillery from the past still relied on manual calculations and required about 2 to 4 minutes to engage, the Paladin's automated systems compressed the entire process to less than half a minute. This speed was a technical advantage, but more than that, it was a clear upgrade in battlefield doctrine. The cartel was caught completely unawares. They had 0 chance to disperse or reposition before the shells landed. By the time they could react, the damage was done. The range also maximized the effect. Beyond that, it served as protection for the Paladin's crew. Having a reach of up to 30 kilometers using standard rounds, the howitzer operated in a way that even if the armed cartels wanted to fight back, it would be completely useless. HP, the distance allowed U.S. forces to strike decisively while minimizing exposure to return fire. The integration with the Phoenix drone's data gave the Paladin the situational awareness of an aerial observer, translating sensor intelligence into immediate lethal action. How did the cartel take it? Not good. The psychological effect on them was huge. The abrupt loss of their armored vehicles, as well as the fact that no warning was given whatsoever, completely destroyed their confidence. They had lost the sense of security provided by their armor and guards in mere seconds. Just like that, a sophisticated lab meant for the testing of illegal drugs was torn so effortlessly. Not only did the Paladin strike inflict physical losses, but it also disrupted their cohesion and morale. The destruction happened to only a single lab, but the message was clear. The cartels were no longer safe in the shadows. There are reports from local journalists and international watchdog groups talking about the growing fear among cartel operatives. According to the New York Times, competing factions within the Sinaloa cartel have banked on the chaos, and now they are challenging each other's authority. Now, cartel war in Mexico has escalated and Sinaloa is in chaos. The cartel's stronghold is no stranger to such violence, but the ongoing fighting for control over the most powerful organized crime syndicate in the Western Hemisphere is unprecedented. The spike in violence happened when Ismael El Mayo Zambada, who founded the Sinaloa cartel with Joaquin El Chapo Guzman, was detained along with one of Guzman's sons after a small plane touched down in the U.S. El Mayo accused El Chapo's son of betraying him and delivering him to U.S. authorities. Now a faction led by El Mayo's son is waging war against another led by the two sons of El Chapo, who remain free in Mexico. The Sinaloa cartel has extended its reach beyond the Americas to Europe, Asia, and Africa, creating a multi-billion-dollar industry now up for grabs. The power struggle between the old leadership and an ambitious new generation seeking absolute control has turned Sinaloa into a veritable war zone. As of September last year, at least 46 people had been killed and 60 were missing, according to local nonprofit groups, citing figures from Mexico's National Defense Ministry. On social media, Sinaloan users are sharing harrowing accounts of fear and violence in the state. Masked men wielding military-grade weapons have taken control of the streets, with the sound of gunfire constantly echoing through the region. For many people in Mexico, August 10 was a quiet Sunday like any other. But the story was different in Sinaloa. For the inhabitants, it was no ordinary Sunday. It was a day when 17 homicides were committed, one every 85 minutes. It was so terrible that the Mexican government declared it was the most violent day of 2025 in Sinaloa, exceeding every other state in the country. The killings were some of the latest in a spate of violence that has gripped the state after the surprise arrest of Ismael El Mayo Zambada, who authorities say is a longtime leader of the Sinaloa cartel. An analysis of public data showed that ever since the capture of this kingpin, homicides in Sinaloa have risen by a lot, like more than 400% increase. Before El Mayo's arrest, clashes between the cartel's factions were sporadic. But the unusual circumstances of his capture have escalated tensions. Now both the Maitos and Chapitos have stepped up their offensives to seize key territories, Dittmar explains. ACLI data shows a sharp increase in violence in early September, when analysts agree the war officially began. The violence in Sinaloa actually goes beyond the statistics. It has upended the daily lives of the residents. In Culiacan, the constant fear of armed clashes has forced large chains and small family businesses to reduce their hours or shut down completely. One particularly touching account was of a small business owner who operated her grandmother's decades-old restaurant in the Sinaloan capital, who was forced to close her business doors. When interviewed, she explained that there were days when there was maybe just one customer because people don't go out at night. To this day, they still don't. She feared for her safety given the city's insecurity. Like many others in Culiacan, Sonia, as she preferred to be called, and her family have had to adapt to a new normal, imposing a self-curfew. According to her, the citizens decided months ago to only go out at certain times. At first, between September and December last year, it was like a self-imposed rule because people were afraid to go out. Normally, nights and early mornings were most violent, but now the entire day sees violence. There are videos shared on social media and verified showing scenes that have become increasingly common in Culiacan and other cities across the state. Shootouts in broad daylight, clashes between armed groups and security forces, and burning vehicles in residential neighborhoods. It has gone from shootouts to gruesome deaths. In May, the body of a man was found hanging from a nearby bridge alongside a narco message. Just 1 month after that, a human head was left near a tourist site in Culiacan. And 2 weeks after, several police officers were seriously injured in a nearby ambush. Exactly 1 year after El Mayo's arrest, Mexican President Claudia Sheinbaum said her government was taking action. She claimed that they were working and would bring peace to Sinaloa. But for someone like Sonia, that promise feels distant. The Mexican government has piled thousands of soldiers into Sinaloa, but has proven unable to curb the violence. The last 2 months have been the most violent yet. Overall, the war has left nearly 3,000 dead or missing. The strike by the U.S. weakened the cartel by no small means. What happened in Sinaloa is not the end. Far from it, it's only the beginning. As long as there's demand and profit, the cartel will endure. The question is not whether they can be stopped, but whether the two countries will give what it takes to stop them. the United States Navy unleashed a weapon that has made drug cartels tremble in the Pacific. Hidden for years under top-secret programs, the laser system Helios strikes faster than any missile and costs mere dollars per shot. Could this technology finally turn the tide against billion-dollar smuggling networks? And what shocking footage reveals the true power of lasers at sea? Will the cartels ever recover? Join us as we find out what happens when the United States Navy's laser weapons go to battle against the cartels. The USS Preble was cutting through the Pacific in October 2024, carrying a weapon no warship had ever tested in real-world conditions. Buried under layers of secrecy sat the Navy's new high-energy laser with integrated optical dazzler and surveillance system, known simply as Helios. This was not just another piece of military hardware. It was about to prove itself in action for the first time. Naval intelligence had been following strange activity near the California coast. Small, fast boats were moving drugs at night, and whenever Coast Guard cutters moved in, drones suddenly appeared overhead. These weren't amateurs trying their luck. Cartel groups had turned smuggling into coordinated military-style operations. Their speedboats could push past 60 miles an hour while carrying loads of cocaine worth more than $20 million. Meanwhile, the drones circling above provided real-time video to handlers on shore. The result was that the cartels always seemed one step ahead, making traditional interdictions nearly useless. That was about to change. With Helios on board, the Navy no longer had to waste $4.3 million Standard Missile-6 interceptors on drones that cost only a few $1,000s each. Instead, the laser system could fire at a cost of about $13 per shot. The weapon drew 120 kilowatts directly from the ship's own electrical system, removing the need to carry ammunition or resupply mid-mission. The way it works is both simple and extraordinary. Fiber optic cables generate separate beams of light that are combined into one powerful stream. This method, called spectral beam combining, produces temperatures hot enough to burn through a steel engine or set a drone's body ablaze in seconds. Unlike missiles or bullets that travel through the air, laser energy moves at the speed of light, 186,000 miles per second. Against cartel speedboats, this meant instant results. Many of the engines contained aluminum parts that vaporized under the heat. Crews often abandoned ship the moment they saw smoke rising from the stern. The drugs, however, stayed on board, making it easier for authorities to recover the evidence and cripple billion-dollar trafficking routes. The system tracks its targets through a mix of thermal sensors and radar. Unlike conventional weapons, it never runs out of ammunition. That made it particularly effective against the drone swarms the cartels had started using to overwhelm border patrols. What once required multiple ships and costly interceptors could now be handled in seconds by a single vessel equipped with Helios. There were limits, however. The weather along the Gulf Coast sometimes made things tricky. Heavy moisture in the air could scatter the beam, forcing operators to adjust power or wait for conditions to improve. Smugglers were quick to adapt, timing large-scale runs to coincide with storm seasons when laser weapons were less reliable. Even with these challenges, the Navy is already looking ahead. Plans are in motion to expand Helios to 300 kilowatts for use on future DDGX destroyers and next-generation frigates. Right now, only larger ships with advanced power systems can support the huge energy and cooling requirements. Smaller patrol boats, which would benefit greatly, simply don't have the infrastructure to carry the system yet. Helios is also linked to the Aegis combat system, giving ships layered defenses against both air and surface threats. Its optical dazzler offers another option. Instead of destroying a target, it can blind cameras and sensors. That allows intelligence officers to capture cartel data without losing the chance to analyze it. Military leaders see directed energy weapons like Helios as the next step in naval warfare. The cost advantage alone is significant, neutralizing cheap but numerous threats without draining budgets. More importantly, the system keeps crews safe and ensures the Navy maintains control over contested waters. The footage from that October mission remains under wraps, but the signal to cartels and other adversaries is unmistakable. While laser systems at sea reshaped how navies intercept smugglers and drones, the skies required an entirely different kind of breakthrough. The real question became, what happens when the world's most expensive bomber is paired with a weapon that costs less than a cup of coffee to fire? The Northrop Grumman B-2 Spirit, better known as the stealth bomber, carries a staggering price tag of about $2.1 billion per aircraft. Every mission burns through hundreds of thousands of dollars in fuel and support costs before the bomber even releases a single weapon. Conventional precision munitions only add to the expense. Air-to-ground missiles range anywhere from $100,000 to $4 million each. Military leaders started asking how long the United States could afford to fight drawn-out conflicts when opponents were fielding cheap drones and disposable hardware. That concern sparked a quiet but ambitious effort. Defense contractors began working laser technology into existing aircraft under classified upgrade programs. As part of its latest modernization, the B-2 Spirit received experimental laser pods designed to hit both ground targets and airborne threats. Instead of loading heavy racks of missiles or bombs, the system draws power directly from the plane's electrical generators. This cuts down payload weight and removes many of the limits imposed by conventional ordnance. The change in cost was staggering. Each laser shot came in at roughly $15. A bomber that once needed million-dollar cruise missiles to take out hardened targets could now destroy dozens for the cost of a single traditional warhead. For long campaigns against enemies with endless numbers but limited sophistication, the economics suddenly tilted sharply in America's favor. Adversaries, however, did not stand still. Many began deploying large swarms of cheap drones, launching them in the hundreds to overwhelm defenses. Conventional missile batteries quickly ran into a problem. Ammunition ran out fast, and each interceptor missile cost tens or even hundreds of thousands of dollars. Analysts calculated that, over time, enemies could bleed American defenses dry simply by throwing waves of expendable machines into the fight. Laser weapons erase that problem. Because they rely only on power from the aircraft, they can fire continuously without running out of ammunition. As long as the generators keep producing electricity, the beam can keep firing. In practical terms, this gave bombers something close to unlimited ammunition. Nuclear-powered ships and advanced electrical grids provided even greater endurance for extended operations. The combination of the B-2's stealth and its new directed energy weapons created a tactical edge no adversary had faced before. Radar operators might detect the bright streak of a missile launch, but laser strikes left almost no trace, only a brief flash of heat when the target was hit. That meant bombers could destroy multiple threats without giving away their position to nearby defenses. There were limits, of course. Lasers are still shaped by the environment. Dust, moisture, and rain scatter the energy beam and reduce its reach. Mission planners now include detailed weather forecasts in their operational checklists. On clear nights with dry air, the system is at its most lethal. This shift has already begun to influence how money is spent. Budgets that once poured into producing mountains of ammunition are being redirected into developing higher output lasers and more powerful generators to sustain them. The focus is moving from stockpiling shells and missiles to investing in renewable energy systems that can keep weapons firing as long as the plane remains airborne. Bomber crews are also being retrained. Unlike traditional bombs, lasers don't explode on impact. They require steady, precise contact with a target for several seconds. Pilots now practice flying patterns that hold beams on moving objects, while operators train on power management to make sure the weapons never drain the system during intense engagements. The shift represents more than just new technology. Strategists see it as a change in how wars will be fought and financed. Victory in modern conflict depends not only on advanced weapons, but also on the ability to fight for months or years without exhausting resources. With the B-2 Spirit now carrying directed energy systems, the United States military has shown that it is preparing for that future, one where cost-effective firepower and technological superiority go hand in hand. In the Red Sea, Iranian-backed forces discovered a profitable new market when Mexican cartels offered cryptocurrency in exchange for modern weapons. The Houthis, already armed with drones, guided munitions, and electronic warfare systems, found eager buyers in organizations flush with cash from fentanyl sales. With billions generated annually through drug trafficking, cartels could afford battlefield-proven equipment that American law enforcement had never faced at home. The trade was managed through encrypted networks overseen by Iranian Revolutionary Guard officers in Yemen. Cartels supplied chemical precursors for explosives, while in return they received completed drones, radar jammers, and even anti-ship missiles. These deals bypassed black market arms dealers and avoided international sanctions designed to stop dangerous weapons from spreading to non-state actors. By early 2024, Houthis were attacking United States Navy destroyers in the Red Sea with kamikaze drones and cruise missiles. Within months, similar systems surfaced along the Texas border. Border Patrol agents began to encounter drone swarms flying in formation, copying the same tactics seen overseas against commercial shipping. What had once been fast boat smuggling runs evolved into militarized campaigns. Cartels now fielded drones with thermal cameras for surveillance, jammers to cut police radios, and even explosive-laden suicide drones used against rivals. This level of sophistication posed a crisis that ordinary policing could not contain. Iranian advisors deepened the threat by training cartel fighters directly. In camps hidden across Mexico and Central America, former Houthi drone operators taught everything from electronic warfare to coordinated strike tactics. These programs produced a new generation of cartel technicians who could build, maintain, and deploy weapons that rivaled those used in war zones. The network came to light when United States intelligence traced cryptocurrency movements, linking cartel accounts to Middle Eastern operators. Investigators matched payment schedules to known Houthi weapons purchases, proving that American drug demand was indirectly funding militants engaged in live combat with United States forces abroad. Soon, American police and border units began reporting weapons they had never seen outside of combat zones, night vision devices built for the battlefield, encrypted satellite communications, and armor-piercing ammunition. Local shootouts started to resemble clashes in foreign war zones, with gangs wielding tools meant to fight national militaries. Financial assessments confirmed the core problem. Cartels now commanded revenues greater than the defense budgets of many nations. With money on that scale, they could buy nearly any weapon on the global market. This economic power meant that criminal organizations inside the United States borders had the resources of a hostile state, turning a law enforcement challenge into a national security emergency. While Iranian weapons continued moving south through established channels, Mexican cartels were busy building something that caught intelligence agencies completely off guard. The pressing question became, what happens when criminal organizations begin producing military hardware faster than governments can track it? Using just the profits from a single fentanyl shipment valued at around $200 million, cartels set up underground aerospace manufacturing sites. These weren't makeshift workshops or hobbyist drone operations. They were full-scale facilities staffed with engineers who had once worked for legitimate defense contractors. Production lines inside disguised warehouses and abandoned mines were turning out as many as 50 advanced unmanned aerial vehicles every month, hidden from satellite detection by carefully built hangars and underground infrastructure. The Sinaloa cartel also managed to purchase 12 Turkish-made Bayraktar TB2 drones, aircraft already proven on battlefields in Ukraine and Syria. Instead of mounting explosives, cartel technicians reconfigured the payload bays to carry up to 500 pounds of compressed fentanyl. A single flight could deliver enough narcotics to saturate the East Coast drug market for half a year. The cartel's surveillance capacity transformed almost overnight. Persistent drone patrols equipped with thermal sensors and secure communication links provided constant updates on Border Patrol movements, high-altitude balloon locations, and law enforcement patrol patterns. Coordinated formations used artificial intelligence software originally designed for military swarm tactics, giving cartels real-time command over wide stretches of the border. Materials science also became part of their playbook. Factories began producing airframes out of carbon fiber and other advanced composites, giving drones more speed and endurance compared to aluminum-bodied aircraft. Many suppliers who sold the raw materials assumed they were dealing with ordinary commercial buyers and never questioned the unusual order volumes. Quality standards inside these underground factories rivaled those found in legitimate aerospace production lines. Cartel ingenuity extended into the seas as well. Narco submarines, once crude vessels for smuggling, evolved into autonomous carriers able to launch aerial drones while submerged. This created layered surveillance networks that existing interdiction methods could not detect, much less disrupt. Each submarine carried as many as 20 small drones, each with the endurance to remain airborne for more than 8 hours. Electronic warfare soon entered the picture. During clashes with rivals and law enforcement, cartels began deploying jammers and radar spoofing equipment. These systems disrupted police communications and even interfered with civilian aviation networks during smuggling runs. Much of the hardware and training came directly from Iranian sources, with instructors operating from bases in Central America. Autonomy made the threat even more dangerous. New targeting systems allowed drones to identify and pursue vehicles or people without any human operator in control. Facial recognition programs and vehicle matching algorithms enabled aircraft to track targets across state lines for days at a time. Police suddenly faced flying weapons that behaved more like hunter-killer machines than surveillance tools. By the early 2010s, the global drone market was worth an estimated $42 billion, and cartels were a part of it. Through front companies, they poured money into universities, startups, and artificial intelligence firms. Many researchers never realized their civilian projects were being adapted for cartel weapons programs. With mass production, costs plunged. Each combat-ready drone could be built for under $10,000. That meant a single drug shipment worth $50 million could finance as many as 5,000 drones. This direct link between narcotics profits and weapons development created exponential growth in cartel military strength. For the United States military, few options remained. Conventional airstrikes against these hidden factories risked heavy civilian casualties in densely populated areas. Strategic bombers armed with precision lasers emerged as the only realistic counter. Unlike explosive munitions, directed energy weapons could destroy underground entrances, manufacturing equipment, and command centers with surgical accuracy, carrying out strikes inside the United States territory without triggering the kind of devastation that traditional weapons would cause. Cartel breakthroughs in drone technology grabbed headlines, but America's investment in laser weapons gave the United States a clear advantage. Unlike missiles or conventional guns, directed energy systems have a major edge. They perform best in the very conditions that smugglers depend on. In many ways, nature itself has become an ally for the United States' defense. Could the very skies the cartels rely on actually be working against them? By 2023, military planners had figured out how to use weather and air conditions to know when lasers would work best. Some people pointed out possible limits, but in fact, these conditions usually gave the United States an advantage over the cartels. Clear skies, low humidity, and stable temperatures, the most common conditions along key border areas, allow lasers to strike targets with pinpoint accuracy, almost instantly. The deserts of Arizona and New Mexico tell a similar story. Cartels counted on heat to shield their drones, but the clear desert air helps lasers travel unimpeded. With minimal moisture or clouds, targets can be disabled long before they cross into United States territory. In this setting, dry landscapes became a natural ally for defense forces. Altitude works similarly. The higher a drone flies, the thinner the air becomes, meaning there's less to block or scatter the laser beam. This allows military lasers to stay tightly focused, deliver more energy to their target, and hit with devastating precision. Ironically, cartel drones trying to escape by flying higher only made them more visible to United States sensors, making it easier for operators to track, target, and disable them. The weather could pose a challenge. Fog, dust, heavy storms, or sudden rain showers can scatter light and slightly reduce a laser's effectiveness. Yet the United States systems are built to handle these obstacles. Satellites and radar provide real-time tracking, while conventional interceptors back up the lasers when nature tries to interfere. On most days, clear skies, dry air, and stable temperatures give American defenses a natural advantage. By the end of the day, the cartel's massive investments in drones rarely paid off. Instead of shielding them, the atmosphere often magnified the effectiveness of the United States' lasers. Sunlight, desert air, and thin, high-altitude conditions became silent allies, turning the sky into a vast, invisible extension of America's shield, a force the cartels could neither hide from nor fight. The cartels thought their drones and smuggling tricks gave them an advantage, but the United States Navy's laser weapon changed that. Quiet, accurate, and powerful, it turns the skies the cartels counted on into a place they can't control. After years of speculation, people around the world can finally see the United States Navy's laser weapon in action against cartel operations. For the first time, the power, speed, and precision of this technology are on full display. It shows how modern weapons can stop threats almost instantly without the need for traditional explosives or bullets. The lesson is clear. The future of fighting crime and warfare has arrived, and the balance of power has shifted in favor of those who can control the skies. Is Russia ready to take on the deadly German supertank? Well, we'll find out. The war between Russia and Ukraine is advancing as each day passes with no end sight. Due to this prolonged conflict, resources are being used up, and while the United States has openly supported Ukraine by providing it with weapons, Germany is also thinking of sending one of the most deadly tanks with the hope that it would bring the war to an end. What are the features of this German tank? Does it have what it takes to put an end to the Russo-Ukrainian war? Join us as we delve into the destructive feature of the deadly German supertank that shocked the Russian. In February, German Chancellor Olaf Scholz announced a significant shift in response to Russia's invasion of Ukraine, leading to major changes in Germany's defense policy. However, Germany is still hesitant to send certain heavy weapons like battle tanks to Ukraine and should take a stronger leadership role in European security. Since the end of January, the country has invested about $1.16 billion in military aid to Ukraine, including weapons, equipment, and financial aid for military purposes. It is worthy of noting that Germany has provided more aid than France, but less than the UK and Poland. Initially, they sent basic equipment like helmets, but it has since sent heavier weapons like rocket launchers, howitzers, anti-aircraft guns, armored vehicles, and air defense systems. The first air defense system has arrived in Ukraine, with the rest expected in 2023 due to production delays. And now, this country is also deliberating whether to send one of their most powerful attack tanks, the Leopard 2, to Ukraine. Let's get into the intriguing details of this battle tank. The Leopard 2 was made by Krauss-Maffei in the 1970s and became operational in 1979, replacing the older Leopard 1 tank in West Germany's army. However, different versions of the Leopard 2 are still used by Germany and 13 other European countries, as well as countries like Canada, Chile, Indonesia, and Singapore. Some countries have permission to produce and develop the battle tank locally. The Leopard 2 tank has two main versions. The first version includes tanks up to the Leopard 2A4, which have vertical turret armor. The second version, starting with the Leopard 2A5, has angled turret armor and other upgrades. All Leopard 2 tanks have a 120mm cannon that was made by Rheinmetall, a digital fire control system, a laser rangefinder, and advanced night vision. They are also powered by the powerful V12 twin-turbo diesel engine made by MTU Friedrichshafen. Even as the Leopard 1 was just starting to be used, the West German military wanted a better tank for the next decade. This led to the start of the MBT-70 project with the United States in 1963. By 1967, it was uncertain if the MBT-70 would ever be ready, so the West German government asked Porsche to research upgrades for the Leopard 1. This study, called the Gilded Leopard, aimed to add new technology to the Leopard design. Proposed upgrades included an autoloader, a coaxial autocannon, and an independent commander's periscope. The anti-air machine gun could be operated from inside the tank, and a TV camera was added on a mast. The turret and hull were reshaped with cast steel armor, and improvements were made to the suspension, transmission, and engine exhaust vents. After the Gilded Leopard study ended in 1967, the West German government decided to focus on experimental development to see what upgrades could be made to the Leopard 1 and to create parts for a future main battle tank. Initially, they invested 25 million DM, but after realizing this wasn't enough, the budget increased to 30 to 32 million DM. The project was given to Krauss-Maffei, which had to work with Porsche on the chassis and Wegmann on the turret. Two prototypes with different components were built to improve the Leopard 1's firepower to meet the MBT-70 standards. The main goals were to achieve high accuracy at 2,000 meters and to hit moving targets accurately using a computerized fire control system. These vehicles were called Keiler. The MBT-70 was an innovative tank design, But due to high costs and technical problems, Germany left the project in 1969. Attempts to fix the main issue, which was the driver's seat in the turret, failed, and by late 1969, Germany decided to stop the joint development. The Assistant Secretary of the Military Procurement Division suggested reusing as many MBT-70 technologies as possible in a new project called Eber, after his name, Eberhard. The Eber had a modified MBT-70 turret in hull, with the driver seated in the hull. However, only a wooden model was made. A year later, it was decided to continue development based on the earlier Kyler project instead of finishing the Eber. In 1971, the new design was named Leopard 2, and the original Leopard was renamed Leopard 1. Paul Werner Krapke became the project officer for the Leopard 2 program. Initially, two versions were planned: the Leopard 2K with a regular gun, and the Leopard 2FK with the XM150 gun launcher from the MBT-70. In 1971, 17 prototypes were ordered, but only 16 hulls were built because the production of hull PT-12 was canceled. Initially, 10 were ordered, and then another 7. The turrets were numbered T1 to T17, and the hulls were numbered PT-1 to PT-11 and PT-13 to PT-17. Each prototype had different components to test various ideas. 10 turrets had 105mm guns, and 7 had 120mm guns. Hulls PT-11 and PT-17 had a hydropneumatic suspension from the MBT-70 design and only 6 road wheels. Different types of auxiliary power units were used. All turrets had a machine gun for air defense except for PT-11, which had a 20mm autocannon. Most prototypes used the MB-873 engine, except for hulls PT-07, PT-09, PT-15, and PT-17. The road wheels were from the MBT-70, and the return rollers were from the Leopard 1. The prototypes weighed about 47.5 tons and had welded turrets with spaced armor. In mid-1973, Wegmann designed a new turret called the Spitzmaus-Turm, which saved 1.5 tons in weight. This design used the new EMS-13 optical rangefinder, which required less space. However, after the Yom Kippur War, higher protection was needed, and the Spitzmaus-Turm was never produced. The weight limit was increased to approximately 55 tons. The T-14 turret was modified to test new armor, and the MS-13 rangefinder, resulting in a blockier look. This modified turret, called T-14 Mod, had a fully electric turret drive and stabilization system developed by General Electric and AEG Telefunken. In July 1973, German Defense Minister Georg Leber and U.S. Defense Secretary James R. Schlesinger agreed that standardizing main battle tanks would benefit NATO. They decided that using components developed for the Leopard 2 in the U.S. XM1 Abrams tank could lower costs. A German team went to the U.S. to evaluate this idea, but U.S. law prevented public bidders from interfering in private sector contracts. To meet U.S. Army requirements, the Leopard 2 prototypes were modified. On December 11, 1974, Germany and the U.S. signed a Memorandum of Understanding to test a modified Leopard 2 against the XM1 prototypes. Germany sent a complete prototype, a hull, a vehicle for ballistic tests, and special parts to the U.S. for testing at no extra cost. The Leopard 2 AV was developed to meet U.S. and German protection standards. The T-14 MOD turret was used as a base, and the final ballistic trials took place in June 1976. The turret of prototype PT-19 was fitted with a laser rangefinder developed with Hughes. Compared to earlier prototypes, the Leopard 2 AV had a simplified fire control system. Many components, including the EMES-12 optical rangefinder, various sensors, the commander sight, grenade launcher, and other equipment were removed. The design and production took longer than expected, delaying its shipment to the U.S. It couldn't be tested before September 1, 1976. Despite Germany's hope for simultaneous testing with the XM1 prototypes, the U.S. Army tested the XM1 prototypes from Chrysler and General Motors first. 2 new prototype hulls and 3 turrets were sent to the U.S. PT-20 had a 105mm rifled L7 gun and a Hughes fire control system. PT-19 had the same fire control system, but could switch to a 120mm Rheinmetall smoothbore gun. PT-21 had the Krupp Atlas electronic EMS-13 fire control system and the 120mm Rheinmetall gun. The Leopard 2 AV met U.S. requirements. A study by FMC Corporation showed it was possible to produce it in the U.S. within cost limits set by the U.S. Army. Before the trials finished, the focus shifted to common components between the two tanks, rather than the U.S. Army adopting the tank. FMC chose not to submit a proposal, believing the U.S. Army wouldn't adopt a non-U.S. developed tank. The U.S. Army found the XM1 had more special armor coverage than the Leopard 2 AV, due to different threat perceptions and the rush design of the Leopard 2 AV. In mobility trials, the Leopard performed as well or better than the XM1 prototypes. The AGT-1500 turbine engine used more fuel, while the fuel tracks on the Leopard 2 AV were more durable. The MTU diesel engine had a lower heat signature. The fire control system and sights of the Leopard 2 were better, and its 120mm gun was superior. The cost for one XM1 tank was $728,000 in 1976, and the Leopard 2 AV was $56,000 more. The decision to produce the Leopard 2 for the German Army was made after a study showed it would provide greater combat potential than producing more Leopard 104 tanks or an improved Leopard 104 with better guns, armor, fire control, and engines. Before production began in 1979, the Leopard 2 designs underwent various changes. The engine, transmission, and suspension were improved, and the ballistic protection of the turret and hull was enhanced. The part of the tank that holds ammo in the hydraulic system was separated from where the crew sits and had special panels added. Some new parts were added to the Leopard 2 tank during its development, and later after testing in the U.S. They chose a cheaper laser rangefinder from Hughes over a better one because it was already made and less expensive. A German company modified the rangefinder to fit the needs of their army. They tried to put a U.S. engine in the tank, but it didn't work well, so they stopped the project. Germany ordered some tanks in the late 1970s and early 1980s. The first batch had 380 tanks, and they were finished by 1982. They ordered more tanks in additional batches, ending with a total of 2,125. The tanks were made at a steady pace during the Cold War, but slowed down later. The company could speed up production again if needed. Unlike earlier versions, which were mostly the same, the Leopard 2A4 came with a new computer for aiming and a better system for putting out fires. Starting from the sixth group of tanks, they added stronger armor and new side protection. In 1984, the German military wanted upgrades for the Leopard 2, and they began a program called Komfortsteigerung to improve the tanks, and they had official requirements. The KWS program had 3 parts. The first part upgraded the gun barrel and mount to make it more powerful. They made 225 Leopard 2A6 tanks this way, starting in 2001. The second part focused on making the tanks safer by adding better armor. They upgraded 225 tanks to Leopard 2A5 between 1995 and 1998, and another 125 from 1999 to 2002. The third part of the plan was to replace the Leopard 2's turret with a new one that had a bigger tank gun, an autoloader, and a battlefield management system. They also wanted to make the hull better protected. Originally, they wanted 650 tanks with these upgrades, but it didn't happen. They tested the bigger gun, but decided not to go through with it in 1995. Instead, they used the money for another project. They made the Leopard 2A5, which had better protection against certain types of mines. It weighs about 62.5 tons. The newest version is the Leopard 2A7, which started with 20 tanks in 2014. They're already planning to make it even better, especially its optics. In 2015, there was talk about the Leopard 2's bullets not being able to penetrate some Russian tanks, so they're working on a new type of bullet just for the Leopard 2A7. In the same year, Rheinmetall said they're working on a new, bigger gun for the Leopard 2 that would perform much better, with plans to start selling it in 2016. The Leopard 2 started being used in 1979, and it's expected to be used until around 2030. In May 2015, Germany's Ministry of Defense said they're working with France on a new tank to replace both the Leopard 2 and the Leclerc tanks. They're looking into different ideas and technologies to figure out what the new tanks should be able to do. Before they introduce the new tank, they'll make some improvements to the Leopard 2, like adding a new digital system for the turret, a better way for the crew to see what's going on around them, and a system to protect against attacks. They'll also make the tank's gun more powerful in the short term, and then work on making it even better in the future. This is because tanks like the Russian T-14 Armata are getting better at defending themselves, so having a strong gun is more important than ever. The Leopard 2 tank has special armor all over it. This armor is made up of different kinds of materials like steel plates and flexible stuff. The steel plates are really hard and strong. They figured out how to make this armor by studying how explosive shells work. The armor might be based on something called Burlington armor, which the British showed to West Germany in 1970. In the mid-1970s, West Germany got all the details about Burlington. The front of the Leopard 2's armor is made to stop big bullets and explosive shells. In the 1980s, they thought the front of the Leopard 2 could even stop bullets that were 125 millimeters big, fired from far away. Its tank's armor is about 800 millimeters thick, according to guesses from former soldiers. On later versions like the Leopard 2A5, the armor got even thicker, up to 1,500 millimeters. The sides and back of the tank can stop bullets from heavy machine guns, medium-sized guns, and older tank bullets. To protect against things like rockets and grenades, the sides of the tank have extra armor panels. The front part of the sides has heavy armor panels, while the rest has panels made of steel and rubber. The bottom of the tank's sides are angled and reinforced to protect against mines. The Leopard 2 tank is designed to keep dangerous stuff away from the crew. In the turret, things like ammo and hydraulics are in separate compartments from where the crew sits. If something explodes, special panels on the compartment roofs push the explosion and fire away from the crew. The crew is also protected from things like nuclear, biological, and chemical threats. The tank has a special system that keeps the inside safe from these dangers. There are smoke mortars on the sides of the turret that can shoot smoke to hide the tank. Most of these German tanks have 4 smoke mortars on each side, but Dutch ones have a different system with 6 barrels on each side. Some other tanks, like the Swedish Stridsvagn 122, use a similar smoke system to the French Leclerc tank. The tank has a system to put out fires. There are 4 big fire extinguisher bottles, each weighing about 9 kilograms, placed behind the driver's seat on the right side. These bottles are connected to pipes and hoses. If the temperature inside the tank gets too hot, above 82 degrees Celsius, the fire detection system will automatically make these bottles spray to put out the fire. There's also a smaller fire extinguisher weighing about 2.5 kilograms stored under the main gun. Since the Leopard 2 started being used in 1979, they've been making the armor better bit by bit. Starting from the 97th tanks in the 6th group they started using a new type of armor that's spaced out in layers. In the same group, they also added better protection on the sides of the tank. When they upgraded tanks to the Leopard 2A5 version, they cut open the roof and put in new armor. They added special armor panels to the front of the turret that look like arrowheads, which make the tank safer against different types of bullets and explosives. They also improved the armor on the sides of the tank. They put in a special liner that's 25 millimeters thick to protect the crew if the armor gets penetrated. The Leopard 2A7 has even better armor, especially on the bottom to protect against things like mines and bombs. They can also add more armor or special systems to protect against rocket-propelled grenades. In city fights, tanks can get different armor sets. These sets, like the Leopard 2A4 in can, Leopard 2 PSO, and Leopard 2A7, can have thick armor on the sides of the turret and body. They also can add slat armor on the back. This armor helps protect against RPG-7 rockets, which can pierce steel armor from 11 inches to 24 inches deep, depending on the warhead. The Leopard 2A6M can has even more protection against RPGs with extra slat armor. Various companies have made more armor upgrades. For instance, IBD Diesenroth made upgrades with Mexus and AMAP composite armor. RUAG developed an upgrade with SidePro ATR composite armor. These upgrades make the tanks more resistant to mines and IEDs by adding a special plate under the tank. Also, the German Defense Ministry decided to get Trophy, an Israeli-made active protection system for 17 German tanks. They plan to finish adding it by 2023. The Leopard 2 tank's protection levels vary from 23 to 27 inches on the turret and 24 inches on the front hull. The Leopard 2A4 can withstand around 28 inches against certain attacks. Its main gun is the Rheinmetall 1/10 mm smoothbore, similar to the one used on the M1 Abrams tank. It stores 27 rounds in the hull and 15 rounds in the turret. If the turret's ammo storage is hit, an explosion would go upwards. However, if the hull is hit, there's a risk of secondary explosions due to stored rounds, which is a design flaw.
Germany is no stranger to producing top-of-the-line weapons and ammunition. Their commitment to innovation and engineering excellence has earned them a formidable reputation in the world of military technology. German tanks, in particular, are renowned for their balance of firepower, protection, and mobility. These tanks have been deployed in various conflicts, showcasing their mettle in Afghanistan, the Balkans, and even in peacekeeping exercises during the Cold War. They have proven their worth in real combat situations. Now that some of these German tanks have been sent to Ukraine, how does Russia react? Join us as we explore this deadly German supertank that shocked Russian invaders in Ukraine. Germany's decision to equip Ukraine with deadly supertanks represents a significant boost to Kyiv's defense capabilities in the ongoing conflict against Russian forces. The massive tank, the Leopard 2, is often considered one of the world's best main battle tanks. It hails from Germany, manufactured by the renowned company Krauss-Maffei-Wegmann GmbH. This tank, belonging to the third post-war generation, is operated by a crew of 4. What makes the Leopard 2 stand out are its remarkable features. These include a flawless fire control system, a formidable gun, and robust armor. Astonishingly, despite its considerable weight of around 70 tons, it can reach speeds of up to 72 kilometers per hour and come to a halt within seconds. Originally adopted by West Germany in 1979, the tank proved its worth and was subsequently exported to other nations. In fact, the Leopard 2 dominated the tank market in Europe, with only a few countries like England, Italy, and France opting for the development of their own main battle tanks. Its production began in 1979, and its initial buyer was Denmark, choosing the Leopard 2 over the American M1 Abrams due to cost considerations. Subsequently, Switzerland in 1983 followed suit, leading to other countries adopting this powerful machine. While the production of the Leopard 2 ended in 1990, this tank continues to receive various upgrades. The latest and most advanced version is the Leopard 2A7+, which many experts hail as the best main battle tank currently available. One of the most striking features of the Leopard 2A7+ is its firepower. This tank is armed with a 120 mm smoothbore gun, which is a testament to its ability to engage and destroy a variety of targets, including heavily armored vehicles. The Leopard 2A7+ also boasts a fully automatic ammunition handling system, ensuring a rapid and continuous rate of fire. But that's not all. The tank is also designed for versatility. It can fire kinetic energy rounds, which are highly effective against heavily armored targets, as well as programmable airburst ammunition. This versatility means the Leopard 2A7+ can adapt to different combat scenarios, making it a formidable force on the battlefield. The protection offered by the Leopard 2A7+ is equally impressive. It features Chobham composite armor, known for its excellent protective properties. This tank also has additional armor modules to enhance its front protection, ensuring that it can withstand various threats. Its turret is protected by thick composite armor, providing a high level of crew safety. Mobility is another key aspect of this supertank. It's powered by a V12-cylinder 4-stroke liquid-cooled MTU 873K501 diesel engine with a power output of 1,500 horsepower. This powerful engine allows the tank to accelerate to speeds of up to 70 kilometers per hour, despite its weight of around 70 tons. It's a blend of power and agility that's essential for maneuvering on the battlefield. Additionally, the Leopard 2A7+ is equipped with advanced fire control systems. These systems provide the tank with excellent accuracy and targeting capabilities. allowing it to engage and eliminate threats effectively. Its laser rangefinder and thermal imager, integrated into the gunner's main sight, ensure precise target acquisition. It's an impressive fact that this tank can be configured for different roles, such as a main battle tank or an armored recovery vehicle, making it a versatile asset for any military. However, it's crucial to mention that Ukraine is expected to receive older Leopard 2A4 and possibly Leopard 2A5 tanks. These tanks boast the classic German layout with a rear-mounted engine, a self-supporting turret in the center of the hull, and control units in the front. They are equipped with Chobham combined armor and, in the case of the Leopard 2A5, additional armor modules on the frontal plate, significantly enhancing protection. The Leopard 2A4 was first introduced in the late 1980s. It is an earlier version of the Leopard 2 series and is known for its exceptional balance of speed, protection, firepower, and capacity. With a 120mm smoothbore gun, it's capable of firing a variety of rounds, making it a formidable opponent on the battlefield. The tank's armor, designed to withstand a variety of threats, provides solid protection to its crew. One unique aspect of this tank is its mobility. It's powered by a 1,500 horsepower engine, allowing it to reach speeds of up to 70 kilometers per hour. This blend of power and speed is crucial for maneuvering in combat situations. In fact, the Leopard 2A4 was often compared favorably to its contemporaries, including Soviet tanks like the T-72 and T-80. On the other hand, the Leopard 2A5 represents an evolution of the Leopard 2 series. Introduced in the early 1990s, it brought several improvements to an already impressive platform. The most noticeable upgrade is its advanced armor protection. The Leopard 2A5 features additional armor modules on the front, increasing its protective capabilities even further. This tank's gunnery systems have also been enhanced. It maintains the 120mm smoothbore gun, but with improved stabilization. Its fire control systems are top-notch, offering precise targeting capabilities. The Leopard 2A5's combat effectiveness has been taken up a notch with the addition of a thermal imager, allowing it to operate effectively day and night. Both the Leopard 2A4 and 2A5 have made their mark in history, demonstrating excellence in armored warfare. These tanks have seen action in various conflicts, proving their worth on the battlefield. They remain iconic symbols of the dedication to innovation and defense in the world of military technology. However, one of the drawbacks of the Leopard 2 series has been its relatively weak underbody protection, which ranges from 20 to 60 millimeters. In the event of a mine explosion, the driver's survival was highly uncertain. To address this, the Leopard 2A4M and Leopard 2A6M introduced a superimposed armor plate under the tank, offering greater protection. However, whether these upgraded versions will be supplied to the Ukrainian army remains unknown. The Leopard 2's turret is another area of impressive protection. It features 860mm thick composite armor on the right side and 660mm on the left, primarily due to the commander's EMES-15 observation unit located on the right. Additionally, the turret's side plates, angled at 30 degrees, are 310mm thick. Unlike Soviet tanks, where all ammunition is stored under the crew compartment, the Leopard 2 wisely separates the ammunition storage from the crew. There are 27 rounds of the first-round ammunition, and an additional compartment holds 15 rounds. This design is crucial in the event of an ammunition detonation, as the blast's energy can escape through specially designed windows, increasing the crew's chances of survival. Comparing this design to Soviet tanks, where ammunition storage below the crew compartment poses significant risks in case of an explosion, underscores the Leopard 2's safety measures. The significance of Ukraine receiving Leopard 2 tanks lies not only in their exceptional technical attributes, but also in the shift from using Soviet-made tanks to NATO-standard equipment. This transition could potentially bolster Ukraine's capabilities in the ongoing conflict, as it continues to fight for its sovereignty. However, the exact impact of these NATO tanks on the course of the war remains to be seen. The Leopard 2 tank is a formidable piece of machinery, equipped with a V12-cylinder, four-stroke, liquid-cooled MTU MB 873 K501 diesel engine. It packs a punch with 1,100 kilowatts or 1,500 horsepower under the hood, enabling it to zip down the highway at speeds of up to 72 kilometers per hour. What's interesting about its drive system is that it's ingeniously designed as a one-piece engine block, allowing for a relatively swift replacement of the transmission set using a recovery vehicle, typically within a time frame of about 4 hours as stipulated by technical regulations. Now, when it comes to firepower, the Leopard 2 doesn't disappoint. Its primary armament is the fearsome 120mm smooth-bore gun, the Rheinmetall version L44. This potent gun, which remained standard up to the A5 version, boasts two-plane stabilization, enabling precise targeting and the ability to fire various types of shells, including the German DM-33 Bops with tracer. This formidable shell can pierce a substantial 560 millimeters of steel armor from a distance of 2,000 meters. It's a testament to the Leopard 2's firepower. The Leopard 2 is not all about its main gun, though. It comes with secondary armaments, including 2 machine guns, one of which is coaxially mounted with the main gun, and the other serves as an anti-aircraft gun. Different variants of the Leopard 2, be it German, Danish, or Swiss models, come equipped with various machine guns like the 7.62mm MG3, the 7.62 FN Mag, or the 7.5mm MG87, depending on the nation of origin. Remarkably, the Leopard 2 stores a substantial 4,750 rounds of machine gun ammunition. In terms of targeting and precision, the Leopard 2 is equipped with a top-notch fire control system known as the MS-15, featuring independent stabilization in 2 planes. The gunner's main sight is integrated with a Zeiss laser rangefinder and thermal imager. Furthermore, the gunner enjoys an 8-fold auxiliary periscope, the Faro Z18, enhancing target visibility. Meanwhile, the commander has an independent Rheinmetall Zeiss Peri R 17A2 periscope, which provides exceptional day and night visibility of targets up to a range of 3,600 meters. The fire control system is a crucial element, providing 3 range readings to the target within 4 seconds. This data is transmitted to the fire control computer, aiding decision-making. A notable feature is that the gunner can directly see the results of these calculations in digital form. The rangefinder boasts a remarkable maximum range of 10,000 meters with an accuracy of 20 meters per 10 kilometers, which allows the Leopard 2 to effectively target and eliminate moving threats, even while traversing rough terrain. In a nutshell, the Leopard 2's technical specifications, particularly the A4 and A5 versions, are certainly on par with the most advanced Soviet T-72 and T-80 tanks. However, it's essential to mention that these NATO tanks might face stiff competition from the Russian T-90 tank, which Russia has been supplying in large numbers to conflict zones. Now, let's pivot to the heart of the matter. How could these German Leopard 2 tanks potentially influence the Ukrainian-Russian conflict? The supply of 14 tanks from Poland, though significant, might not tip the scales dramatically in a war of this magnitude. However, the implications go beyond mere numbers. For a considerable time, NATO countries were hesitant to provide tanks to Ukraine. Concerns about maintenance and repair, given that all Western equipment supplied to Ukraine is repaired in the West, have been a roadblock. Moreover, there were concerns that inexperienced Ukrainian tank crews might not fully exploit the capabilities of NATO tanks, which could potentially harm the reputation of these formidable machines. Yet, the decision to supply tanks signifies NATO's confidence in resolving these challenges and its willingness to accept potential image losses. This initial delivery of 14 tanks could potentially set a precedent for more significant support in the future. Ukraine's Minister of Foreign Affairs, Dmytro Kuleba, has stated that 5 countries are ready to transfer their Leopard 2 tanks to Ukraine. These nations include Poland, Finland, Germany, Sweden, and Spain, boasting a collective arsenal of 1,233 Leopard 2 tanks across various modifications and technical conditions. This extensive support includes 389 Leopard 2A4 versions. Furthermore, Reports suggest that British Prime Minister Rishi Sunak is contemplating the delivery of a tank company of 12 Challenger 2 tanks to Ukraine. The cumulative force of these armored units represents a substantial combat capability. With such a formidable armored force at their disposal, Ukrainian troops could potentially mount a significant offensive. For instance, they might consider launching an attack on Melitopol and Berdyansk, effectively severing the Russian land corridor to Crimea. Such an offensive could be a game-changer in this ongoing conflict, inspiring Ukrainians and their Western allies and potentially leading to even more substantial arms shipments. It could set in motion a transformative and far-reaching effect. Because the Leopard 2A, 4, and A5 are just enough to help bolster Ukraine's military power, there may be no need to send the latest edition of the Leopard 2 supertank to the country. Interestingly, Germany is even working on a replacement for these impressive tanks. The Kf-51 Panther represents a quantum leap in the world of main battle tanks, or MBTs. It was created from the ground up, integrating some of the most advanced technologies available, and it sets new benchmarks across various dimensions: lethality, protection, networking, reconnaissance, and mobility. Germany will be replacing its Leopard 2S with this tank. When we talk about the Panther's lethality, we're talking about a game-changer. It's armed with the Rheinmetall Future Gun System, or FGS, coupled with optimized sensor-to-shooter links, which gives it a lethal edge. The FGS is the star of the show, featuring a 130 mm smoothbore gun and a fully automatic ammunition handling system. This combination packs a punch, offering superior firepower against all current and foreseeable mechanized targets. Notably, the autoloader can maintain a substantial 20 ready rounds, which makes the FGS more than 50% effective for engagements at much longer ranges compared to the current 120 mm systems. To add to the Panther's versatility, the FGS can fire kinetic energy rounds, programmable airburst ammunition, and the necessary practice rounds. But that's not all. The Panther also comes equipped with various armament options, ensuring it can deliver concentrated firepower for long-range strikes and against multiple targets. This arsenal includes a 12.7 mm coaxial machine gun and the Hero 120 loitering munition. The coaxial machine gun is designed to supplement the main weapon and offers a range of integration options for remotely controlled weapon stations, or RCWS. These systems enhance proximity and drone defense flexibility. Additionally, the Panther on display at Eurosatory 2022 boasts Rheinmetall's new Natter, or Adder RCWS, in a 7.62 variant. Moreover, Rheinmetall's partner, U-Vision, contributes the Hero 120 loitering munition, which can be integrated with the launcher, boosting the Panther's ability to strike targets beyond its direct line of sight. Interestingly, the Kf-51 Panther is the first MBT to introduce an integrated survivability concept that's truly outstanding. This concept blends on- and off-platform sensors with active, reactive, and passive protection, not to mention a dedicated Top Attack Protection System, or TAPS. What does this mean? It means the Panther is actively shielded against a wide array of threats, particularly kinetic energy threats, all without increasing the tank's weight. TAPS works to deflect threats from above, while the rosy smoke obscurant system served to cloak the Panther from prying enemy eyes. To further enhance its survivability, the tank is equipped with a digital NATO Generic Vehicle Architecture, or NGVA, enabling it to deploy additional sensors for detecting launch signatures. This capability is complemented by the tank's ability to recognize and neutralize threats at an early stage, thanks to its pre-shot detection capability. What's more, the Panther is also cyber-hardened and designed to operate effectively in contested electromagnetic environments. When it comes to controllability and networking, the Panther offers a fresh operating concept. It's primarily designed for a 3-person crew, consisting of the commander, gunner, and driver in the turret. But there's an additional operator station, which can accommodate a weapons and subsystems specialist or command personnel, such as the company commander or battalion commander. This versatility allows the Panther to adapt to a variety of operational scenarios. So, while Leopard 2 is very good and will be serving Ukraine in the war, Germany is moving on to another formidable MBT. However, in addition to the tanks to be delivered to Ukraine, Germany will also be sending the country some Marder infantry vehicles. The specific number of Marder vehicles that Germany will provide has not been officially disclosed, but German government spokesperson Steven Hebestreit indicated that approximately 40 Marders would be supplied, enough to complete a battalion. The Marder infantry fighting vehicle, a 30-ton tracked vehicle equipped with steel armor, will be another significant upgrade for the Ukrainian Army's mechanized infantry. Paired with the M2 Bradley IFVs from the United States, these vehicles offer Ukraine the mobility, protection, and firepower necessary to launch a major offensive. The origins of the Marder can be traced back to World War II, when the German army realized the importance of having infantry support to secure conquered territory. The Marder infantry fighting vehicle entered service in 1971 and has undergone continuous upgrades since. Despite its age, the Marder remains a top choice for its balance of speed, protection, firepower, and capacity. It has proved its effectiveness in various battles, including deployments in Afghanistan and the Balkans. The Marder is powered by a 600-horsepower, 6-cylinder liquid-cooled diesel engine, providing excellent mobility. Its suspension system, hydraulic shock absorbers, and advanced transmission make it a reliable and agile vehicle. It can reach a maximum road speed of 40 miles per hour, matching the speed of the German Army's Leopard tanks, and has a maximum cruising range of 310 miles. This vehicle can even navigate through deep water, fording to a depth of up to 8 feet with a kit. It can tackle steep gradients, side slopes, vertical obstacles, and trenches, making it a versatile and adaptable vehicle for various terrains. In terms of firepower, the Marder is armed with a primary 20mm Rheinmetall Mk 20H202 automatic cannon, capable of firing 1,000 rounds per minute, with a range of 2,734 yards for land targets and 1,600 yards for air targets. This cannon's accuracy and rapid fire rate make it a formidable weapon. Additionally, the Marder features a 7.62mm coaxial machine gun and 2 banks of 76mm smoke grenade dischargers. While the incoming U.S. Bradley vehicles are equipped with TOW missiles, the Marder's primary armament and secondary machine guns make it a versatile asset for both combat support and infantry transportation. Germany's decision to supply Marder infantry fighting vehicles and Leopard 2S to Ukraine, along with support from other nations, showcases the international commitment to bolstering Ukraine's defense capabilities. It's a move in the right direction,